Alrighty, so yep. You saved Hyrule, and you are a real drunk. Well, hero too, but still. Yeah. Hey, maybe actually, you're pretty fine for what you are. Oh yeah, haha. Yeah. Okay, actually, you know what? I don't want to go back to America. I want to stay here now. Thank you, Dave. But yep, as you can see.
Dave. Oh man.
Yep, as you can see, we are done with Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. Real quick, pretty much, who went first? Pretty much who went first after we got done playing Legend of Zelda? Was it you or me that gave our thoughts?
I was absent for the Great Palace, if you remember.
Yeah, pretty much you were, but pretty much like pretty much who went first? Like in terms of like the original Legend of Zelda that we did for the Zeldathon. Pretty much who went first?
I think it was you actually.
Okay. Well, there's a case if it was me. Did you want to go first to give your thoughts on Zelda 2, seeing that like you weren't there for the original finale?
Yes.
All right,
yes,
go right ahead.
Absolutely.
All right, go right ahead and take it away.
All right, I'm gonna be short because I don't have too much to say. All I'm gonna say is that I was very harsh to this game the first time we started playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was being a little bit unfair because I hadn't played it, but just watching it. If I remember correctly, I gave it a 2 out of 10 the first time.
You did, actually, and pretty much if I remember right, I think you said that, like, one of the reasons why, like, pretty much you gave it a 2 was because you did not like the random encounters. I think you said that, like, I think you said the enemies pretty much, like, were one of the reasons that, like, you gave the game a 2, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but now that we played it, and I've played it a couple times off screen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be honest, I enjoyed this game a lot more than I used to back then.
Alrighty, nice.
Now I will admit there are some enemies that are still pretty annoying. The eyeballs, especially the blue eyeballs, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And for what it's worth, I think this is a pretty good game. And it's a shame that this is the only game to feature a side scroller because. Had this game done a little bit better, I think they would have brought it back, which I think is a very interesting gameplay gimmick.
Honestly, like, alright, like, it wasn't because, like, the game didn't sell well, or that, like, it was, like, a poorly bad review, because, like, actually, fun fact, like, pretty much, like, when Zelda 2 came out, like, it actually still sold, like, fairly decently. Like, if I remember correctly, I think it was, like, the 7th best selling game, like, for the NES overall and such. And at the time, like, the peak, at the time, like, the reviews were actually pretty, like, for the most part positive and everything. But the main reason why, like, the main reason why we never saw, like, that pretty much we never saw it, that, like, we're definitely never gonna see anything like this again, was because, like, Miyamoto was one of, like, was one of the people that, like, did not like, how Zelda 2 turned out overall and everything. And pretty much, like, as much as he wanted to, like, try to do a side-scrolling with Legend of Zelda and everything, I think it's safe to say that, like, he probably wants to forget Zelda 2 for as much as possible.
Yeah, totally. And a little fun fact, in case Dave doesn't know this, but the director of this game later went on to make a game that hating the game makes me happy.
And pretty much, can you guess what that game is?
Yeah, let's let him guess. Let's let him guess. I'm very interested to see what game Let's let him guess.
Okay. Well, pretty much while he takes a guess and everything, you want to finish up your thoughts real quick?
Yes. Let's let him guess. But anyway,
all right. Oh, hey, look who it is! It's ESM. Hi, ESM.
Yes,
Welcome.
Hi.
And thanks. Wait a minute. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that, Barney. Look, thanks a million. We have 1 million subscribers. So thank you, 1 million subscribers, for joining us on this live stream.
but yeah, I'm gonna give this game a 7 out of 10 because it's a very fun game. It's got a lot of flaws, but the flaws don't really affect my enjoyment of the game. Yes, there's annoying enemies, but at the end of the day, it's still a fun game.
The director? No, actually, no. Miyamoto was not the director for Zelda 2, actually. and neither was his partner. Basically, Miyamoto had became a father by the time that like Zelda 2 was being made. And okay, ESM, stay with me on that because I am actually gonna make an announcement for Ace Attorney. So stay with us on that for a little bit. But pretty much yeah, Miyamoto was actually a brand new father by the time Zelda 2 was coming around, and most of the people that originally worked on the original Legend of Zelda were way too busy with Mario projects that pretty much a whole new team had to be recruited and such. Shall we play Dry Cereal on? No, actually no, ESN, that's okay. I'm gonna play Dry Cereal on Steam and such. But pretty much a new team had to be made to make Zelda 2 and such. And Pajama Sam, I'm still also good on Pajama Sam. But
yeah.
Or Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe.
But yeah, so I was gonna say, alright, so I'll give the game away. Super Mario Kart.
Yes. So yeah, you heard right. The person that directed Zelda 2 would later go on to direct Super Mario Kart for the Super Nintendo.
And could you tell Dave why I love to hate that game?
Well, pretty much, if you're very interested, go see our Let's Play on Super Mario Kart and you'll understand why, but yeah, pretty much let's just say Barney really does not like Super Mario Kart at all.
It's one of the, to me, it's one of the worst games I've ever played. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, yeah. I give Zelda 2 a 7 out of 10. It's a really good game, and I highly recommend you guys try it. Even if you don't like it, still give it a try. You know, who knows? Maybe playing it again might change your views on it, like it did to me.
Yeah, it might. And pretty much alright. So while I go ahead and give my thoughts on Zelda 2, I want to show you something real quick. So technically, this game does have a second quest, but unlike, let's see, meant to be. Yes. Yes, pretty much, yes, you are correct. Zelda 2 is meant to be, a different game altogether, but sooner or later, pretty much, they decided to put Zelda in the main time, as the main character and everything. Resented that for that reason, and pretty much that was the reason. That was one of the main reasons for it. But yeah, so, alright, so like I said, this game does have a quote-unquote second quest, but pretty much all this is just, easy mode. So pretty much once you reboot the game and everything, pretty much so pretty much as you can see, all of your stats, your attack, your magic, your life, they're all in their maximum stats, and you automatically get. So I couldn't come in and break. Well, pretty much ESM, you're just in time, because like I said, pretty much, like I said, you're just in time, because, yeah, like I said, we're getting ready to wrap our thoughts on Zelda 2. But pretty much, all your magic is there, so pretty much if you want to play the game all over again, just have it on easy mode, there you go. So, yeah, so pretty much while I go ahead and play Zelda 2 again, I'll go ahead and give my final thoughts on Zelda 2 as well. So, pretty much if you remembered my blind Let's Play on Zelda 2 and everything, I was also one of the other people, much like Bonnie, I was one of the other people as well, too, that did not like Zelda 2 at first. I pretty much, coming from someone that had, played the original Legend of Zelda a lot and such, pretty much, it took a very long while for me to get used to, honestly, it was mainly the combat system. It was mainly the, combat system and everything, where, pretty much, I had a very hard time, trying to enjoy the game as best I can, especially with the Iron Knuckles. When it came to enemies like the Iron Knuckles and everything, you could tell that, I was getting very frustrated with the game, especially with, trying to understand, how the combat system works, how to, I was very confused on, why can Link pick up certain items, like a heart and everything, but he needs to, stab a key or a pea bag in order to pick it up and everything, which, honestly, yeah, that part I still find very odd and everything. But, pretty much, but pretty much the more that I played through the game and everything, the more I actually did start to like it and everything. And again, you could tell by you could definitely tell by the way by the time I got to like the Great Palace and everything, and like by the time I also like, hold on. By the time I got to the Great Palace, and by the time like I got to the end of the game and everything, that I was actually seeing a bit more high praise with Zelda 2 and such. And pretty much now is one of those games where, much like as Bonnie said, like pretty much the more that like I play it and everything, the more I now like fully understand the combat system, how it works, and now I know about all these like tricks and secrets to make the game a little bit more easier. I consider Zelda 2 to be a very fun game and such. Like, pretty much the one thing I always did like with Zelda 2 and everything was that, like, I definitely did like on, pretty much on how more openness that, like, I did pretty much like on how open the worlds felt at time. Where, like, pretty much Hyrule actually did feel a lot more fleshed out as well too. What is about Mario Kart that you didn't like? For me, it was okay. Pretty much once I get my final thought. Actually, Barney, did you want to go ahead and explain like why you don't like Mario Kart real quick?
Yes.
All right, go right ahead.
Basically, the drifting feels very weird. Like, I just can't get used. Well, let me start from the top. I can't get used to the goddamn controls, first of all. They're so goddamn slippery that it's not even funny. And I think Sekoa can attest to that.
Yeah, I can, cause like, yeah, pretty much again, if you saw my Let's Play, and again, like, honestly, once I get to this part, I'm gonna title this part, Let's have Zelda 2 review, and a little bit of Super Mario Kart as well, too. But pretty much, like, yeah, like, I do agree that, like, yeah, like, the drifting in Mario Kart can definitely feel very awkward, especially depending on, like, pretty much, like, who you're using as a character as well, too. That part I do agree with.
And especially the CPUs. The CPUs are one of the worst things about the game. Like, they are goddamn cheaters. There's no question about it.
ESM, if you do want to bring out Paper Mario, go right ahead. You can go ahead and play it if you want. But pretty much, alright, so yeah, pretty much going back to, like, Zelda 2 and such. So yeah, like I said, I do like how, like, more colorful and more, like, open, like, Hyrule actually feels with, like, both the overworld and the towns, because, yeah, like I said, this is the first Zelda game to, like, introduce towns, introduce people, and I actually do like that mechanic and such. Like, pretty much it definitely feels like a more open world, where pretty much, like, the characters actually do, like, that's another thing I actually do like. The characters actually do give you, like, some helpful hints as well, too, as best they can. Like, it's not like in the first Legend of Zelda game where, like, the old man's hints are just, like, so cryptic and everything, like, that pretty much, like, sometimes you have to, you just have to stand there, scratch your head, and try to, like, think really hard about, like, what the old man is actually trying to say and such. Whereas pretty much, like, at least with, like, the townsfolk and everything, like, they're a little bit more blunt. They definitely give you a lot more, like, a clear direction on what you actually need to do in order to, like, get through a certain town, or pretty much, like, try to get a certain item that you're definitely gonna need later on down the road and everything. And pretty much, like, yeah, that's one thing I do like about the town, like, feeling lively and everything, and the hints actually being more helpful. So that's one thing I do like. And pretty much, yeah, once you get used to the combat system and everything, I think the combat in, like, Zelda 2 and everything, like, now, like I said, I do admit that, like, it is gonna take a lot of time to get used to. Especially if you're already used to, like, playing Zelda 1 or playing, like, the old Zelda games and everything. It is definitely going to be a combat system that's definitely going to take a lot of time to get used to. Pretty much as it did with me as well. But pretty much once you get used to it and everything, like, with the downward stab, the upward thrusts, and pretty much, just trying to find some way to go about, like, attacking certain enemies and everything, it can make for a really fun experience, in my opinion. And
Dave says, the cart doesn't feel like it's really on the road. The Mode 7 is like a treadmill moving at you, rather than the cart moving forward. Yeah, I agree.
And pretty much, yeah, too. Like I said, the combat is very fun. I actually do like how some of the magic as well too. It's pretty much like definitely helps you out as best it can as well too. And now, like, with the exception of fire and spell and everything. Pretty much most of the other magic, like, definitely does help you out throughout the game. And you can definitely feel that, like, as the game progresses as well, too. that's one thing I actually do like about Zelda 2. Like, excuse me. It actually does feel like you are making progress throughout the game and such. And like with each of these projects, it's like, you know, pretty much like Dave said as well too. Yes, it's hard, and yes, it can be challenging. But pretty much once you actually make it through a certain part, like, it can definitely feel very sweet knowing that, like, you know, that pretty much all your hard work was not for nothing in the end. So, let's see, is there anything else? Now, like I said, you know, even though I do like the combat system in the game and everything, I will admit, it does take a lot of time to get used to. If you're not used to the combat system and everything, then, like, this definitely will not make for a very fun experience and such. And I will admit, this game is very difficult, no doubt about that. Like, I pretty much, like I said, you know, the difficulty was one of the reasons that, like, you know, Barney and I were actually turned off by this game at first and everything. And I definitely don't blame, like, you know, those Zelda, I definitely don't blame, like, you know, any other people, even today, that don't like Zelda 2 because of, like, you know, its unfair difficulty at times. But pretty much as Johnny put it best and everything, like, yeah, Zelda 2 can be hard, but at least to me, it's one of those games where it's actually like a fun type of hard, where pretty much like sometimes, like, you know, it doesn't really feel like all that punishing. Like, it doesn't feel punishing. It doesn't feel like impossible. Like pretty much it's not one of those games where it's just like, you know, it's pretty much like punishing you for exploring, or that, like, you know, it's punishing you for literally no other reason and everything. Like, no, like, sometimes, like, yeah, right here. As you can see right here, like, you know, I do not have to stab the bubble if I don't want to. But because I am stabbing the bubble and everything, like, you know, some of these deaths that are happening are actually based on my own stubbornness and my own fault and such, which is actually pretty nice. Yeah, like, you know.
Now, I was gonna mention punishing game. That does sound familiar. Ghosts and goblins.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much like, unlike Ghosts and Goblins, or even a little bit of, like, you know, Lost Levels and everything, like, you know, yeah, like I said, Zelda 2 is hard and sometimes punishing, but it's not all that impossible hard. Like I said, pretty much it's just one of those games where, like, you need a lot of patience and a lot of practice. Pretty much if you have the patience and the practice to sit through this game, then sooner or later, like, you know, you might, at the very least, like, even if you don't, like it at the end of the day, or if you still find some faults with it, you might still actually at least, like, you know, appreciate it at the end of the day and everything. So pretty much, like, yeah, like, there's one fault I will give to Zelda 2, like, you know, being, like, you know, a little bit on the difficult side, but like I said, I wouldn't say it's, like, impossibly difficult. And let's see, is there anything else that I can think of? Oh yeah, the music. Honestly, the music in Zelda 2 is really good. I really do like the music in Zelda 2. And honestly, like, still to this day, I think this is one of the very best Zelda musics overall, in my opinion. Now, like I said, I haven't played...
The palace music especially. The palace music especially.
Oh yeah, the palace music, like, honestly, I can listen to, like, both the original palace and the Great Palace music any day and such. Now, granted, like I said, I haven't played the other Zelda games, so obviously, like, you know, the title for, like, a Best Zelda soundtrack could actually get dethroned as soon as possible. But pretty much, like, yeah, Best Zelda soundtrack overall and everything, so... Alright, I think that's about it in terms of, like, what I want to say about this game. I can't think of anything else that I need to say off the top of my head, so... Alright, my final thoughts and my final score for Zelda 2. Honestly, like I said, it's one of those games where it's just, like, the more I play it, and the more that, like, you know, I get... yeah, the more I play it and everything, the more I'm having, like, you know, sometimes I have, like, fun with this game and everything. Like I said, there are some frustrating parts in this game that I do understand that, like, can be a turn-off for some gamers and everything. But honestly, like Bonnie said, I do recommend you give Zelda 2 a chance. Honestly, like, I have not listened to Link to the Past in a very long while, but honestly, like, yeah, I don't doubt that A Link to the Past has great soundtrack too. But pretty much, like, yeah.
But I've got a question.
Go ahead.
This is gonna be, and I want Dave to answer this one as well.
Okay, go ahead.
It's really soundtracks.
Okay.
Would you take the Super Mario 64 soundtrack or the Link to the Past soundtrack? Which of the two?
Ooh. Okay, honestly for me, because I have not listened to Link to the Past all that much, I'm gonna have to say 60.
Right. I'll make it fair to you.
Okay.
Let me think of the soundtrack. Right. Zelda 2, Super Mario 64.
Okay, well for me, I would go... Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, for me, honestly, I would go with Super Mario 64. As much as I do love as much as I do love, Zelda 2 soundtrack, and it's still a very kick-ass soundtrack at the end of the day. I honestly, I can't deny that, like, you know, that at least with, like, Super Mario 64 and everything, it definitely has, like, a lot more, like, you know, soundtrack score to it and everything. And there's just a lot of scores, like, you know, with Dire Dire Docks, the Any theme to Bowser theme and everything, that just really makes, like, a 64 a very fun experience to me.
And also that end credit song that plays at the very end.
Yeah, actually, hold that out. Okay, alright, you see this boss right here? Watch. And I don't have a shield on either. One.
Whoa, what the hell? Wow!
Yeah! So, yeah, so pretty much, like, that's how easy it is to take on Horsehead once you get level 8 magic. That's how or at least level 8 attack, I should say. That's how easy it is. And yeah, okay, I'm also gonna show you right here, too. So, pretty much, like, okay, once I get 9,000 points. It's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a while.
Ooh, okay, interesting. I pretty much Dave also votes for 64 as well.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna mention
Okay, so alright, so you saw that there with 9,000. All right, you see that life? I got an extra life. So now every time you reach 9,000 XP, you get an extra life. No question about it.
Nice. Well, I was gonna mention this to Dave. Yeah, Jolly Roger Bass, my favorite soundtrack from Mario 64. The second one is the end credits theme.
Oh yeah, me too. Honestly, those are both my favorite credits themes, and honestly, I also have a soft. Pretty much, I have a soft spot for the Slide theme as well.
Oh yeah, the Slide. The end credits theme always makes me tear up when the key changes.
It does, and pretty much like yeah, like, ooh, okay, I'll have to give that a listen as well too. And pretty much like yeah, so and honestly, it makes it all the more sweeter when, like, you know, when pretty much Charles says, "Thank you so much for playing my game."
And you know something? That line hurts more now because Charles is no longer voicing Mario.
Yeah, I know.
It's sad, but you know.
It is, but at the very least, like, you know, he had a very good long run playing as Mario.
Yeah, he was the voice of my childhood. No doubt about it. And your childhood too.
Yeah, pretty much it was, because I actually did grow up with, like, a 64, actually. So, like, yeah, that is actually very true right there.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
go ahead, you first.
No, we're done, so go ahead.
Okay,
what were you
so
gonna say?
pretty much, like, yeah, like I said. So, pretty much, like Barney and Dave said, do please give, like, you know, Zelda 2 a chance. Even if you don't end up liking it and everything, at least you can't say you didn't give it a chance. I do highly recommend this game. It is difficult, it is challenging, I will admit, but if you're one of those people that actually do like a very difficult game, and pretty much a difficult game where it doesn't really punish you that harshly, please give it a chance. Honestly, it's one of those games where where I think more people should give it a chance, honestly. Much like our review with Lost Levels, I do feel that, like, you know, I do feel like people need to give, like, you know, Lost Levels more of a chance as well, too. So honestly, that's why, like, with my rating for Zelda 2, you know what? I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And, honestly, like, yeah, if we were to do, like, you know, a tier list ranking for, Zelda 2, ooh, that's a good question.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's me, Mario.
It's me,
Hello.
Mario. Hello.
Wait. Do that idiotic Mario, because I want to hear that idiotic Mario.
It's me, Mario. Hello. I heard that you were playing as Zelda 2 instead of my game. What the hell, man? I thought we had something special. Alright.
It's always a treat when you bring up idiotic Mario. It's the best thing ever.
It is. But anyway, alright, so yeah, if we were to put Zelda 2 on a tier list and everything, honestly, you know what, honestly, like, I'm split between A and B, honestly. For now, I'm gonna put it, okay, honestly, for now, like, because of the trip to the Great Palace and everything, and, like, yeah, like, for all the other, like, difficulty the game does throw at you, I think it's fair to put it on B.
Fair enough. I would also put it on B, actually.
Yeah.
That's the best spot I could put it.
Yeah, because, like, honestly, like, you know, if the Great Palace wasn't all that tough and everything, no doubt, I definitely would have put an A right next to the original Legend of Zelda. But yeah.
Alright.
Yep. Alright, well folks, this is it for like a Zelda 2 and even the Zelda Marathon and such. Now, this part right here, I would say that coming up next, and ESM, if you're still here, you might need to listen to this as well. So pretty much, like, originally I would get ready to say that like up next, up next, like, we are gonna be playing like, you know, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo. However, something interesting has come up while I was on Discord and everything, and during like my practice session with Zelda 2. That honestly, I'm gonna do something different. So tomorrow morning, I'm gonna post up a poll, and I want you guys to vote on pretty much like what. Alright, so I'm gonna post up a poll. So let me try this again. I'm gonna post up a poll, and in that poll, I'm gonna let you guys vote on what's gonna happen to this gaming marathon. If you want me to continue the Legend of Zelda Marathon and pretty much pick A Link to the Past, go ahead and vote for A Link to the Past. However, and pretty much like ESM, like, alright, so what happened was that like I contacted ESM through Discord and everything, and I mentioned how much that like, you know, pretty much I found a drive and wanted to go back to the Ace Attorney series, and pretty much he's also on board with returning to Ace Attorney, and so is Barney. So pretty much what we're also gonna do, if you guys want us to take a break from Zelda and go back to playing Ace Attorney with Justice for All, then go ahead and vote for Justice for All. And as a nice little bonus, if you do vote for Justice for All, and if Justice for All wins, then pretty much I'm gonna upload the stream on Zelda 2 to the YouTube gaming channel as soon as possible. So pretty much, if you guys want to see the streams of Zelda 2 way more earlier and everything, then go right ahead and vote for Ace Attorney, Justice for All. But if you don't mind, waiting for a bit until I get to A Link to the Past, and if Link to the Past does win, then pretty much I'll upload Zelda 2 as soon as I get started with, like, you know, streaming the first session of Link to the Past. If Link to the Past does win. So pretty much I'm gonna post a poll up tomorrow, and I'm gonna like keep it up there till Saturday. And whichever one wins, I'll definitely make an announcement to let you know what's going to happen. Because either way, the next marathon will be starting somewhere around mid-July. I will say that right now. Because even if Link to the Past does win, I'm gonna admit right here, I have not played A Link to the Past as much. The last time I played A Link to the Past was literally for the blind Let's Play that I did on the gaming channel. So for A Link to the Past, I have a feeling I will need a couple of, like, you know, practice sessions in order to make sure that, like, you know, the game runs, like, smoothly. At least when I play it and everything. So pretty much, yeah, make sure that, like, you vote for like whichever game you want to be featured on the marathon tomorrow. And by the end of Saturday, I'll make an announcement to let you know who won in the end. So anyway, guys, this has been Sakura the Diesel saying thank you all so much for watching. I had a lot of fun time playing Zelda 2 and everything, and I know Barney has as well.
Oh, absolutely. This session was the most fun yet.
It was.
No doubt about it.
It was. It definitely was. And pretty much I'd like to thank Dave for pretty much sticking around, like, for the very first session as well, and pretty much sticking around for the whole game. So thanks, Dave. You are awesome. I mean, and pretty much we hope to see you. You are, and pretty much we hope to see you in the next gaming marathon, whenever that happens, and whatever game we're gonna start marathoning and such.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back for the next game.
We would, we definitely would, so don't be a stranger, alright? But, yeah, alright guys, so, like I said, if you guys have enjoyed this session of Zelda 2 as part of the Legend of Zelda Marathon, hit that like button. Have a good night, and you are welcome. Have a good night to you as well, Dave. And,
have a good night, Dave.
And pretty much, like, yeah, if you guys are excited to see any more Let's Plays and gaming series I have planned, because like I said, yeah, Spy Fox is going to be the next one, and I'm also still going to do Final Fantasy as well, which I will also announce right here. Most likely, I'm probably just going to do a recording. Most likely, I definitely will do a recording session of Final Fantasy for the NES instead of doing a live stream. So yeah, look forward to that. Like after I get done with Spy Fox. And pretty much, yeah, if you're excited for both Spy Fox and Final Fantasy, hit that subscribe button as well. And speaking of games, don't forget, if you guys got games you want me to try out, like Dave did, make sure you list them in the comments. Make sure you list them in either on the comments, the chat, on the Facebook page, or whatever. And if you guys like movie and TV show reviews, check out my main channel where I mostly do that. Or check out mine and Barney's co-op channel, Review Bros, where we review movie, TV shows, books, and music together.
Yes.
Alrighty guys, well this has been Recorded Diesel saying thank you all so much for watching, and yeah, as always I've been joined by my good friend
Bonnie, also known as OTBot7.
and we've also been joined by Resident Grant. Oh, thank you all for having me here. Am I just gonna stay? Yeah, am I just gonna stand here all day long and everything? Oh no, Grant, you can actually leave anytime you want. Oh, I can? Hot dog, alright. Yeah, Grant, okay, now I'm just going to stand over here, and okay. Actually, go to that bomb right over there, and okay. Have a nice time, Grant. Alright. Oh, hey, what the hell? Wait, what's that thing? Oh, there. Anyway, guys, this has been Recorded Diesel with my good friend. Well, actually, it was my good friend Grant, and pretty much, yeah, the next time, and pretty much we'll catch you guys on the next, you know, Zelda marathon, or at least like Ace Attorney marathon, or whatever's gonna happen to the gaming channel. But until then, take care, everybody, and bye bye.
Bye, folks.
Oh, what the hell's going on? Wait,